Avasarai Bante. So today is the 7th of May 2022, and we are about to start the Mindfulness for Beginners in English session. We would like to thank and welcome everyone who's joined today, and a very huge gratitude to our Bante Venerable Dhamma Kusala Thero for conducting this session. So without further ado, I will hand over to Bante to start the first item of the agenda, which is a guided mindfulness practice. Bante, over to you.
Hello everybody. So we are connected with another Mindfulness for Beginners program. So today we can do a sitting session and try to practice mindfulness in the sitting posture. So first you have to make sure that you are seated in a comfortable manner. It's okay to take few seconds to adjust your posture and make sure that you are seated comfortably. Once you are comfortable, just try to be aware. Don't try to force it. Just be aware. Just notice what is happening. So while sitting right here, you are attentive and you can feel various things. You can feel various objects appearing in your field of attention. Just notice them. Let them come and go naturally. Don't try to force anything. Just allow the natural flow and you just be the observer. When you allow this natural flow, you can see the sounds are appearing. Various sounds from the surrounding appearing in our field of awareness. Then time to time, thoughts, mental images, future planning will appear. So when that happens, just know that you are thinking, know that you are planning your future, know that mental images are there. Among these things, you can feel your body as well. Maybe the pressure on your back, how the legs and hands are placed, you may feel. Sometimes the breathing also becomes prominent, maybe at your nostrils, maybe at the chest, maybe at the stomach. Again and again, sounds are coming, thoughts are coming, various bodily sensations are there. Allow them to flow naturally and try to be aware about this flow that is happening in the present moment. Sleepiness, pain might also appear. When they appear, know that you are sleepy, know that you feel pain. So the idea is not to interfere with this process. Instead, just be the observer. And when you do that, you are calm and peaceful. Among all these things, you are calm and peaceful. And you are seated in this present moment. So as a group, we will try to appreciate what is happening in the present moment for a few more minutes. Now you can slowly open your eyes again. Take few seconds to notice the status of your mind, how it changed during last few minutes. Okay, so that's the practicing part for today, and we can move forward, Lushani.
I can see Namanta has arrived, so I'll hand over to Namanta. Thank you, Bhante, for that wonderful sitting practice. Now, Mantha, do you want to take over as host?
Thank you, Lishani. Yes, I will. And sorry, apologies, Bhante, for that computer connection errors from my end, and apologies to everyone in the Zoom session. So after the first step of in-session mindfulness, I would now like to proceed to present the reflection reports for Bhante's insightful advice.
Hi. There is one report today. I will start reading that. Walking meditation. Walk 25 steps barefoot on tiled floor. Right, left, then lifting, moving, placing, observed. Warmer on sole of foot and cooler area in sole and top of foot noted. A different pattern in other foot with regards to temperature. There was grit on both feet, changing sensation with each foot being placed. The sharp edges of the tiles felt. The wheel-like motion of each foot when being lifted and placed noted. Gripping of toes and side of foot to balance and irregular placing of foot noticed. Air on back of foot, then lifted and pressure and hardness on placing foot observed. The contraction of muscles, sweaty areas between toes, non-touching surface of arch of feet noted. Observed mind only able to watch one foot at a time, being placed and not the lifting of the other foot that happened almost at the same time. Some thoughts with little proliferation interfered with parts of meditation. The mind naturally returned to feet. Thoughts noted to go spontaneously. Meditated for 1 hour. Sitting meditation. After the walking meditation, sat comfortably on a chair to observe thoughts. Initially watched breath to still the mind and promptly fell asleep. However, was aware of sitting posture. The head did not drop. Body still sat erect and feet firm on the ground. Right hand on top of lap. Arm went after 1 hour. Alarm went after 1 hour. With much gratitude for guidance and organizers.
Okay, so initially, when we try to be mindful, when we try to practice this, some people, they find it quite difficult. You find that you don't have time to practice, and when you start to walk and sit, you can't be mindful. There's no mindfulness. That's what you feel when you start. But when you practice again and again, you can see that although these troubles are there, you can continue your mindfulness for a few steps or a few breaths. You can maintain your mindfulness. And more you practice, after a while, after a few days, after a few weeks, you realize sometimes the objects change. Your attention goes to somewhere else, probably a sound or a thought, and it comes back to the breath again. But you could maintain mindfulness. The objects change, but you can maintain mindfulness. The mind is naturally mindful, and you can notice that. This is a result of practice. You can't get it by pause. Instead, you have to practice again and again. And when you practice, you feel that although the objects change, my mind is mindful. That is a strong practice that we are talking. Otherwise, only till you observe breath, you are mindful. Till you observe your feet, you are mindful. Then when the objects change, you are lost. That's not the correct way. When you practice more and more, when you develop confidence, you can see, although the objects change, I can maintain mindfulness. And that mind is naturally mindful. That's why in your report you say that thoughts are there, but it again naturally came back to the breath or the feet. That's a good observation. You are developing your confidence in the practice, as well as you see the results of your practice. So these things come with some hours spent. You have to do your homework. You have to spend some time walking, spend some time sitting. Formal practice you have to do daily, and try to maintain mindfulness in your day-to-day life. And you see, as a result, my mind is naturally mindful. Earlier, I am lost in thoughts for hours even. But now I can see within few seconds, within few minutes, it naturally comes back to the present moment. That is the strength of the practice. So when it grows, it comes for your rescue. Right? Most people, they think that practice is remembering something. They are listening so attentively with a notebook because they want to remember. They think the practice is remembering. Or some people, they think the practice is reciting verses and stuff, right? But the practice is this. Practice is being mindful. You don't have to remember anything. You don't have to recite anything. But if your practice is correct, it should come for your rescue when you are in a trouble. That's the ultimate goal. Nothing to remember, nothing to recite. Instead, when you are in a trouble, when you are in a difficult situation, if the practice is correct, it should come for your rescue. So see, now you are developing this in the walking, sitting, formal meditation. But try and see, when I am in a trouble, is the practice helping me? Is it coming for my rescue? When you are in a trouble, maybe the anger is there still. Sometimes you can feel the breath. Sometimes you can see you are observing the anger. Sometimes you can see that you are about to say something, probably say something bad, but you feel that you are about to do that. That is how it is coming for your rescue. I'm again saying, if the practice is correct, it should come for your rescue when you are in a trouble. So try and see how we can apply this practice into your day-to-day life. You can't be prepared for what's coming. You just have to be aware, just have to be attentive and see what is unfolding. And when those things happen, when the situations are there, you have to see how to maneuver properly, how to navigate through them properly. So that's the idea of the practice. It is very much related to your day-to-day life, how to respond wisely to these situations, how to respond with an attentive mind. So you can try and see how it is helping you. Not when you are in a good condition, but when you are in a trouble. When you get some pain in your body, when you fall sick, when somebody come and blames you, when something happens in your home. Is it helping me to navigate these situations? So that's the importance of practice. You can really see when you are in a trouble. You can really see the benefits when you are in a trouble. So this is the way you have to continue, and more you practice, the mind becomes naturally mindful. Even during your day-to-day life, you can see that it is naturally aware. You feel the breath, you feel the steps, and that's how it grows. So to continue to share with the group.
Thank you, Bhante. The next item in the agenda is to ask any questions. If anyone has, please raise your Zoom hand and unmute yourself. Arosha, I can see your Zoom hand is out. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Oh, sorry, Bhante. Thank you, Sonali. Bhante, my question is, other than willpower, what is the advice for maintaining a regular formal practice? Would you have any advice other than an individual kind of trying to do that firm determination and using their willpower to do that?
I think if you see the importance of the practice, that is the best motivator. If you see how it is helping you, then that is the best motivator. Let's say if you feel the life is too harsh, if you feel that you are unable to bear the difficult situations, if you feel that your mental health is deteriorating, right? So when you feel these things, when you feel the advantages, then you get the real motivation. So that's how most people, they go for the practice. That's why they try to find a result for this problem. So the very first step is to see the difficulties in this life. See the hardness that you had to face during your day-to-day activities. See the friction in your mind. And when you see that, you get an idea that you have to find a solution. Most people, they are having trouble sleeping. Most people, they have mental issues. They take sometimes medicine even. Sometimes they can't sleep without medicine. So these things are there. So you are functioning, but you are sick inside. Your body is functioning. Your mind is sick. You can't do your studies properly. You can't do your work properly. You can't maintain your relationships with friends and family because of troubled mind, because of the difficulties in your mind. So when you see the difficulties, that's the best motivator for the practice. So if you don't see it, then time will come. Maybe in few years, there's a time that you feel that it is too hard. I have to find a real solution, a lasting solution for this one. And when you see that, it is much easier for you to practice. So most people, they don't get the energy till the right situation is there, right time is there. So some people, they come by the age of 60 or so, they want to become a monk. And they are telling about a long history. When I was 18, I wanted to become a monk. I went to a temple and this is what happened. I came home. Then at the age of 30, this happens, and anyway, I didn't decide to go on, right? Now I am ready, they are saying, at the age of 65, and they can't even climb this mountain anymore, right? So when they try to explain why they haven't done it earlier, they give various excuses, and I usually tell them, no, now is the right time. Let's see whether you can accept this now. Because at the age of 18, if you weren't willing, then that's it. You can't change it. So are you willing now? That's the question that we have to ask. So it is said that it is more generous to accept a present than giving one. It is more generous to accept a present than giving one. Because although you think that giving a present, that is the generosity. You think like that. You think I am doing good. But if the other person, the receiver, if he is not ready to accept, then that's not the correct time. That's not the correct time. It is more generous to accept the present. So that is what the practice is. Are you ready to accept this? No, probably no. Then a time will come, maybe within few weeks, few months, or within few years, we don't know. So we will wait till that point. But most people, when they are for this type of a practice, when they feel the real advantage, that's their time and they are ready. They will accept what's there. So you have to evolve into that condition. You have to grow into that condition. So it is like nature. When the bloom is there, you can see the colors everywhere. Not too late, not too late, not a second before, right? That's how it happens. Proper conditions are there. When the conditions align, you can see a bloom. Everywhere you can see the flowers, the colors. That's how it happens. The conditions has to align, right? So in your life also, sometimes due to various situations, things, incidents, the conditions will align. Now you are ready to accept the present. The present is not new. It has been there for a long time, but now you are ready to accept. That's the correct time. So try and see, try and ask, am I ready to accept this present? Do I feel the difficulty, the friction in this life? If you are ready, the gift is already there. You just have to open it. You just have to go along with it. If you are not, probably within few months, within few years, maybe within few lifetimes, you'll be ready.
Thank you, Bhante. I can see another hand being raised by Samantha. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante, for taking my question. I was just going to ask, just to get some clarification, when Bhante said that you can see your mindfulness is working when you're in a state of trouble. Yeah, I can see what Bhante means by that, because that's only when the practice will be of benefit to me, when in situations when I find myself, I'm not react negatively, so I can sort of take control of my mind. So, and also I've been sort of thinking recently that my whole world is just everything that's inside my mind. It's all deluded. I'm through my feelings and emotions, they're all mixed up, and I'm reacting to all external situations, and also internally through my thoughts as well, because the memory brings back all the past, and then it's not, the perspective has also changed, so I'm not sort of like having a right awareness of the situation, so the reality as if what was, so I don't know really what was right and what was wrong, and it's always my opinions, it's always me, so there's the big I involved. So to cut a long story short, Bhante, I was just wondering, so in this, is the goal of this practice really not to put any value to my inner chatter, because that will proliferate things and make things worse, and just be with the breath really, and not put any value to all these things, what's happening, and just let it be, and just keep focusing on my breath most of the time? Would that be the best way to live? And I know that sounds a bit simple, but because we are always reacting, there are situations in work and family life, relationships, everything. It's all complicated, but however, it's all inner chatter, basically, what my life is really, when I was thinking about it the other day. So I was just wondering whether not put any value, too much value to these, and also, of course, the feelings also help make you give you emotions and make you react in various ways. So all that is sort of negative, and just let things be, and then just try, and every time I'm mindful of any situation, just focus, is it better to just pay attention to the breath and calm the mind instead? And in doing so, after about whatever time it takes, the whole situation's changed anyway. So is that the best way to sort of like live, I suppose, in a practical way, Bhante? That's my question, if that makes sense, Bhante.
Yes, so deluded is the correct word. We are lost in our thoughts, we are lost in our feelings. We don't see the real picture, right?
Yeah.
And we are so eager to react. We want to react so swiftly, not even give few seconds, right? And those reactions, they come naturally. They are natural to you. You don't have to do anything. It comes naturally, right? So this is good. Now you see that my whole life is deluded. I'm lost in thoughts. My mind is most of the time is confused. So when you know that, that's a good starting point, a stepping stone for your practice. So as per your question, initially I would say yes. So you are not giving any attention or priority to your thoughts, feelings. Instead, you try to be friendly with your breath. Initially, yes, right? So let's say even the question, that's thoughts, right? Now you were thinking, you were saying few times, I was thinking Bante the other day, like that you said. So all thoughts, right? So you have to somehow use these things to navigate, use these things to help your practice. So that is a starting point, like how you let go of other things and try to hold on to breath as a safe home or as a happy place in this world. That is the starting step, right? But when you hold on to your breath, that is also holding. That's what happens to most people when they start their practice. They hold on to breath so tightly. That's called holding on to the middle. You let go of the past and the future, and you try to hold on to the middle, which we can say the present or the breath, right? So that's how you start. But when you mature in your practice, you understand holding is holding, right? No matter whether you hold on to the present or the past or the future, all the same. So most people, when they start their practice, they get mistaken by this point. They hold on to the middle so tightly that they see a lot of fault in other people. They say these people, they don't have any morality. These people, they don't behave, they don't practice. You try to control, you try to change the world, right? So that's holding on to the middle. That happens to most of the practitioners. So when you mature in your practice, you have to let go of the middle as well. You have to let go of the breath. You have to let go of the present. Instead, you just practice not holding on to anything. You just see breath as breath. You just see thoughts as thoughts. You just see feelings as feelings. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Just that's it. That's the proper way to practice. Even holding on to breath, you are in the same problem. Maybe the problem even become more and more difficult because now you try to fall by finding in other people. You try to see a lot of issues in other people. Instead, you have to let go of the middle as well, right? So that's the proper way. There is this evolvement in the practice. You are evolving every day. You are evolving. So initially, yes, but when you mature in your practice, no, you are not even holding on to breath. You are not even valuing your breath. It's all the same. They come and go. Whatever, if you hold on, that is holding. So even you have to let go of breath. So that is the progress in practice. So it won't take so much time. For some people, within few weeks, you can see this evolution. you can see they are maturing in their practice. For some people, it takes 15, 20 years. Still, they are holding on to the breath. So you have to see, you have to practice and see how it is evolving. This is not thinking and doing. This is instead, this is naturally evolving. So you just have to be mindful. Try with your breath. Can I be mindful? Okay, this was my sitting practice. This is my experience. This is how I walked, and this is my experience. That is the starting point. But when you report again and again, you get different advisors. Every day you progress. And with some time, you can see the teacher is advising to let go of the breath even. Now the idea is to not hold on to anything. Can I simply be mindful? Just let the things be as they are without trying to influence anything. So that's the idea. So you have to practice and do and see how you are evolving. So otherwise, these are just thoughts. Even my answers are thoughts. Your questions are thoughts. Nothing else. If you practice, then you realize, now I can see I'm maturing in my practice. Now I can see, although he was explaining like this, now I see the real picture. That seeing is totally different. Now starting from tomorrow, if you try to let go even the breath, that's not the correct way. Instead, naturally, the mind will let go of the breath as well. You can see some people, they come and say that the breath is there, but my mind is not giving that much attention to it. It is simply there. The breath is there. If I look, I can see the breath is there. If I look, I can see the sounds are there. If I look, I can see the thoughts are there. But the mind is not giving that much attention. It had enough of those things. If you think there is a value, if the mind thinks there is a value in the world, it will naturally go and grab. But if there is no value, then it won't have trouble. So that's what happens in your practice. Initially, you think that there is value in the breath. You try to impose that idea into your mind. But with time, you can see that there's no value in the breath and mind is naturally there, but it won't go bothering after the breath. Now the thoughts and feelings appear. They say that we have value. And then the mind will start going after them. Maybe lust. That's a good one, right? So it goes after lust. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go and find value in those thoughts, feelings. But after some time, after a few weeks, it comes back again and tell you that there's no value in lust even. Then sometimes the past incidents, they come. They say that there is value in the past. Okay, let it go and find value. You just be the observer, let the mind go and see whether there is value. Then after a few weeks, it comes back, tell you that there is no value in the past. So if the mind thinks that it values something, it will naturally go after that. So you have to allow that process to happen and try to be mindful. Let it find the value in these worldly things. And after a few weeks, few days, it will come and tell you that there is no value. So that is how the practice goes. Initially, you value your breath, of course. But with time, your mind realize. You can't impose that idea. Instead, the mind will realize that there is no value. So that's how you have to evolve. Start with practice. Report us what you are doing, walking, sitting. Then that's how you have to evolve.
I was just thinking, Bhante, when I say the breath, yes, you got the mindfulness on one hand, but using the breath to increase one's the focal, the concentrate, the samadhi. On the other hand, so the stronger I increase my samadhi, I feel that balances my mindfulness as well. They go hand in hand. So I was just wondering whether that's why, if I can, obviously, you see what's going around you and everything, whatever's from the external, from the sixth senses, whatever you hear, everything. And then at the same time, and the inner chatter, you got that. And when you get that, not place value to that, and then use the breath as a focal point to increase my some concentration or the samadhi, so that in turn will increase my mindfulness. That's what I was just thinking, whether to use the breath as a focal point to increase my concentration, to be alongside the mindfulness, to go hand in hand. Would that work?
Yes, you are right. They go hand in hand. But when you really see, you can't chase after concentration. That is the problem. When you start to chase after concentration, you get a lot of problems. Some people, they get headaches. Some people, they get rashes. Right? So you can't really chase after concentration. Of course, they go hand in hand. But what you can chase after is mindfulness. The concentration comes as a result. So if your practice is correct, you are naturally concentrated.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But if you just chase after concentration, that is not the proper way.
Yeah.
That is the time wasted. Instead, you try to practice mindfulness. That is where you start. And as a result, concentration comes. And when the concentration is there, the more mindful you are. So they go hand in hand, but you can't chase after concentration. You have to chase after mindfulness. That is how it goes. So if you sit, if you walk, if you try to be mindful, if you report your experience, then that's how you start. That's how you chase after mindfulness. And as a result, concentration will come. Most people, they don't like the walking because there is no concentration. But Buddha says, if you develop mindfulness in walking, the concentration that you get as a result, it is long lasting. It will last even during your day-to-day life. It will last few hours. The concentration that you get in the walking. So walk more. When you walk, you get the proper way of practice, which is mindfulness. And as a result, you get the concentration.
Wonderful. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Bhante. Thank you. That's really helpful. Appreciate your comments. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. I can see another hand being raised. Lishani, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Thank you, Sonali. Avasare Bhante. Bhante, outside of the daily mindfulness practice, the sitting or the walking practice during the day, just outside of it, during, like throughout the day with the awareness, like I notice like my mind is constantly clinging, like every second. It's clinging, like it's every time there's like outside stimuli, it's like I can notice that I have anger or likes or dislikes, or my mind's sort of getting those signals. So with that, do I continue to just observe them and see what happens? Is there any guidance there?
Okay, so when you notice that your mind is clinging, that's the practice, right? You don't try to stop it. Instead, let it happen naturally. And now you know. That is the only difference. Even last week, there was a child who mentioned, now today is the very first day. And I was walking earlier, I was sitting earlier, but now the difference is that now I know. Now I know that I'm walking, now I know that I am sitting. That's the only difference, Bhante, that I can see. Very first day, this child is saying, probably like 10 years, I guess. So that's the difference. Don't try to stop clinging. Let it happen. Don't try to stop your emotions, thoughts. Let them be there. The anger, jealousy, lust, they should be there. They have been there for a long time. So suddenly we want to get rid of them. No, they are more like children of this mind. You won't get rid of them. Instead, you know that you are bad, they are bad, but still they are children, right? So they should have a roof, right? So that's how it goes. So know that clinging is there, know that these emotions are there, know that anger is there, know that confusion is there. That very knowing is the practice. Earlier they were there, but you didn't know. Probably within few days you realize, okay, I was angry, right? After the things are done, now you want to go back in time and correct them, but it is not possible. So that very knowing is the way of practice. And there's a very valuable potential when you know. That is why we are saying this very knowing is a superpower. When you're angry, you know. When you're thinking, you know. When there's clinging, you know. That very knowing is protecting you. It is like wearing a glove before touching a wire, because you know that you might get a shock. So you wear a glove and then you touch. You are not preventing. Instead, you are touching with a glove. Earlier, you were touching with your bare hand and you get shocked. Now you are touching, but with a glove. Now you are protected. That glove is this knowing. Still, with that knowing, it could go wrong. But you are progressing. That is the progress. Still, you get angry. Still, you react. But at least now you know. Can you be angry and know that you're angry? Can you let the mind to hold on to things? Can you let the mind to cling and know that the mind is clinging? Let it have all the thoughts it wants and know that thoughts are there. This is the proper way of practice. Otherwise, you want to get rid of them. As soon as they start their practice, within few days, they want to get rid of all these things. That is a wrong view. That will create more and more suffering in you. That is why even the regular worldly people, the practitioners, they suffer. Why? Because this is the reason. Right? The worldly people, they eat, they drink, they are having fun. But the practitioners, they suffer. Because suddenly, they want to become pure. That's not the proper way. It should be realistic, no? So little by little, you grow. That is called purification, right? You purify little by little. There's no rush. You have so much time. You little by little, every day you see, okay, the thoughts are there, the clinging is there, the emotions are there. But now I know. When you continue this knowing again and again, then you see the result. Then you can again come back and say, the clinging is there, but it is not so strong as it used to be. The anger is there, but it is not making me a slave to it. The lust is there, but still I can control myself. So that's how it goes. So let it evolve naturally, and you just notice what is happening. Notice that these things are there.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. We actually have one more hand raised. Panchani, would you like to unmute yourself?
Dear Bhante, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bhante, I just wanted to ask, the more that I develop my concentration or samadhi, the awareness is definitely there when I get a little bit of irritation or a little bit of anger. But I do find myself distancing from that anger more and more now, the more that I develop my samadhi and concentration. But there are times that I feel the irritation or anger, And then soon I go into a sort of like a reflection mode. And then I reflect on why I reacted in that way. And very soon I sort of go to that person and I say, I'm very sorry I reacted in that way. And I'm wondering whether I should continue to do that or how I progress from there, basically, from your experience.
Okay, so when you see that you have done something wrong, if your mind tells it, then go and say to that person, apologize, and you can put it into bed, right? So this practice, you try to keep this natural or the peaceful state of mind, right? So if there is something bothering you, if there's something that you can do to correct it, then go and do it. If your mind tells, then do it, right? But as soon as you know that you have done something wrong, although you know you are not going and apologizing to that person, our main task is done. In your mind, you accept that I have done something wrong and I will correct myself in the future. That is the advantage of practice. Even morality, if you know that you have broken something, let's say lying, suddenly you realize I just told a lie. When you realize that in your mind, if you have a determination to correct it, then you are purified again. It is like, you go and confess and you are forgiven. Compassion in your mind is the most important thing. As soon as you realize that you have done something wrong, and if you feel regret due to that, then you are done. As the second step, you can of course go and apologize, go and take precepts. That's not the main step, knowing that you have done something wrong, right? But most people, they do wrong that they don't see that it's as wrong. That's the difficulty. That's the harm in there. When you know that you are doing something wrong, then you are safe. If you do something wrong and still think it is the right thing, then nobody can help you. So that's the issue with most people. They don't see that they are doing something wrong. They appreciate, they think it's a skill. The more they lie, they think it's better. The more they drink, they think it's the better. Instead, now you know that you are doing something wrong. That very knowing will protect you. Then you can, of course, go and take the precepts, go and apologize to that person. That's the second step. But as soon as you know that you have done something wrong, as soon as you have a wish to correct it in the future, then you are forgiven. You can just forget it. But of course, to maintain your social connections, you can go and tell them that I have done something wrong. I'm sorry that I feel bad due to this one. That's something you can, of course, go and do. But the most important thing is that very knowing, right? So try to be mindful. That mindfulness will allow you to see more and more faults in you, right? Every day when we develop, we see more and more ways to become purified. Even little things that we are doing, we will see. That very knowing will increase. It will evolve. So initially you are with so much issues, you don't even see, you only see the big fish, right? But with time, when your mindfulness grows, you see clearly more and more.
Thank you, Bhante. That's really helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bhante. I can actually see one more hand being raised. Bandula, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sonali. Asarai Bhante. I want to just tell about last week, my practice, Bhante. For walking, actually, I just while walking, I didn't feel that much any difference like before. So like before I was walking, I try to pay too much attention to my walk, my foot. So I feel it, I just try to walk the normal, even the sitting as well, my breath, I didn't pay too much attention. See, the thing I would like to say on my day-to-day practice, when I open up my mind for day-to-day things, I have seen a lot of friction. I think I have mentioned before as well. So I see a lot of garbage inside, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to open it up to that. So what happened the next day? One day I was thinking why I don't want to see those things inside my mind. So I get it somewhere. I'm lacking the patience. I don't know where did I get it, but after that I was trying to be more patient on my thoughts. So every time it's something goes on or I don't want to see it, I'll just tell my back of my mind, just be patient. So I try to keep patience. So it helped me a lot to see things going in the mind. And not even that, one day I was watching what's happening the next moment as well, because I'm prepared to see what's going on. So so actually as a person, I'm a less patient. So I think knowing that my weakness, so it helped as well. Other thing I'd like to mention about the day-to-day practice, when I try to bring the present moment, I found it one it's much easier at the very beginning. Say you think, okay, I want to be present. So you can see the posture. So rather you are watching what's going on. So you try to bring to your posture. Then you establish your posture or your the present moment. So then you bring it to present moment. Then after that, you should be able to see what's going on in your mind. I don't know, I have explained properly, Bante, but I thought this was my last week practice. So I like some explanation from you, Bante. Thank you.
Okay, we are happy to hear about your practice. And there was this experiment about a silent room. They have built a silent room in a lab, and the challenge was to spend some time in there, right? So what's the maximum time the participants were able to spend, right? What do you think? Within 10-15 minutes, they start screaming and they want to get out of it. What's the problem? When there's a silent room, when there are no signs, no sights or sounds, then you start to hear yourself. Then you start to see yourself. They don't want to see that person. They don't want to hear that person. Maybe they have spent their entire lifetime ignoring that person that is inside them. So within 10-15 minutes, they scream, they want to get out of it. The maximum time, one person, he was staying there for 40 minutes. That was the maximum time. So what happens? We are afraid to hear ourselves. We are afraid to deal with our thoughts, emotions. Instead, we go to crowds. So it needs some maturity to face yourself, to spend time alone time with you. That needs maturity. The people they don't have it, you can see they are always with crowds. They are always with devices. They are afraid to face themselves. They are so brave in the outside world, but they don't want to face themselves. So this practice is facing yourself, spending more and more time with yourself. And when you do that, you can see garbage is there. Tons of garbage. That's fine. You somehow try to try to deal with this garbage. You can put 3 hours into use and try to recycle this garbage. So in a way, with garbage, we are creating compost, we are recycling. That is what we are doing. First, you have to deal with this pile of garbage. So that is the very practice, dealing with your thoughts and emotions, not getting carried away by them. Instead, you see them as they are. See the thoughts as thoughts, see the emotions as emotions. See how much garbage is there inside. You can spend the entire lifetime without dealing with this pile of garbage. You can spend so much time with other people. You can spend so much time with devices, but still the garbage is there. Now, due to the practice, and now you can somehow start dealing with it. Try to sort them, try to recycle them, try to make compost with them. So that is how we do. So we invite you to use that potential. And you can create something good out of it. You don't have to get rid of it. Instead, you can create compost. The metal pieces you can recycle. Then plastics you can use for some other purpose. Like that, you are dealing with it. You are not trying to get rid of it. Instead, you are dealing with it. You are sorting them and you are putting them into proper use. So that's the way of practice. And very knowing that there is garbage is a very good achievement. It's a progress in your practice, knowing. Maybe I know you have been practicing for years. You kept quiet on your breath and you didn't want to deal with these things, but now you are opening up to them, and that is a very much valuable step in your practice.
Thank you very much, Bhante. I think your analogies are very useful, and I've been using it for my children and around the house as well. And it's just a part of our lives now. Thank you very much for that. I'll hand over to Namanta now.
Thank you so much, Sonali, for conducting the Q&A session. It was very insightful, and thank you and much merits to Bhante for taking a long time and persevering through all the good questions. I would also like to thank all the persons who posted those questions to the session. They added tremendous value to the session. I think we have a few minutes more. I will quickly go through the beginner's introduction in a minute or two. I have shared the screen. I think, yes, I think now you can see my screen. So if you're a beginner or as a refresher also, this advice could be useful to you. There are 2 YouTube videos, one on mindful walking, one on mindful sitting. And you can go through each of the videos and find out certain information as initial instructions to help you start on mindful walking, and then again the same thing for mindful sitting. So this is basic instructions, and it's very elementary. You can understand quickly. Once you are familiar with the concept, you can start doing this maybe 15 minutes a day, or spanning up to 1 hour a day if you are able to. And you can do one session on mindful walking and then the next session on mindful sitting. You can do this for about 4 or 5 days, and once that is done, you are now ready to submit a report. Now, for some of you who are experienced, you may do it in do one day, one session on mindful walking, and the next session on mindful sitting, and still you can submit a report because you have already gone through the initial steps. So please feel free to do that. In your reports, you can explain, if you're writing about mindful walking, you can explain about what you felt, body sensations or thoughts, how your attention shifted here and there, or whether it shifted back to your bodily movements or bodily sensations, your perception and reaction to sounds, etc. Then if it is mindful sitting, prominent things will be the breath moving in and out, and also the abdomen rising and falling, or bodily vibrations or sensations or bodily pains. And you can describe how you felt those, how your mind interacted with them. As a third, like a third party or a third observer, you can explain how your mind interacted, how your mindfulness varied or maintained rhythm in your own words. Then you can send it to us through the email beginnersnv@gmail.com or through the Google form. We will be having this session every Saturday at the same time. For reference, due to geographical time changes like daylight savings, you can always see that this program is held at 1 p.m. Sri Lankan time. That is for a reference in time changes. So with that, I will stop sharing the screen. And I would like to ask Bhante whether Bhante is willing to spend a few minutes on the talk, or we only have about 6 minutes from scheduled time, but if Bhante is able to, I'm perfectly happy for Bhante to continue with the talk for today.
Okay, Namanta, we will take 10-15 minutes to discuss a little bit more.
Thank you,
I
Bhante.
think we had a long Q&A and you got a lot of information regarding the practice there. So let me add some more during this 10 to 15 minutes. Now, in Sufism, there's this saying. They say there are 100 veils between you and the God. And these 100 veils, they identify it as the self. So when you let go of self, you become one with the God. That's what they say in their teaching, in their practice. So in our practice also, this self, the self that keeps influencing your mind, that's the main problem. This self that keeps influencing your mind, it can destroy your whole life. So in a way, our practice, this practice of mindfulness, is to get rid of this self, dissolve this self. That is the idea of this practice. When you dissolve this self, as Sufism say, you become one with the God. You remove those veils that's between God and you. Or in Buddhist terms, we can say you become one with the Buddha. When you let go of this self, when you dissolve this self, you become one with the Buddha. You become one with the God, you become one with the Buddha, you become one with the nature. So in this practice, in a way, we are trying to dissolve this self. So think about your life. When something happens, there's this sudden reaction. Let's say somebody comes and tell you a bad word. There's this sudden reaction. You came to know about some information. Probably somebody betrayed you. And there's this sudden energy rushing through your body. So this is the self that we are talking about. You can see it is acting all the time. You think it is not there sometimes. You think somehow you got rid of it. But next moment you see that it is again there. You throw them away from the front door, and when you turn around, you see they came back in from the back door. You think that you have got rid of this self, but next moment you can see it is relaxing. So that's how this self is functioning. So in a way, when we are mindful, we try to see what is happening. We try to see how this self is acting again and again. So the idea of the practice is this knowing, this seeing. When you see clinging in your day-to-day life, that is the self that we are talking. When you see anger in your day-to-day life, that is the self that we are talking. When you see lust in your day-to-day life, that is the self that we are talking. So every day you get so many chances to see, observe the function of this self. And more you observe, more you become the observer, it loses its power. If you are not the observer, you become one with the self, and your whole world is angry. Your whole world is lustful. Because you become one with this self. You identify it as yourself. But when you become the observer, this function is there, but you just try to observe. Just try to see how it is changing the status of your mind, how it is changing your body. Maybe your breathing becomes faster and faster. Your body heats up due to this activity. You just try to be like a bystander and observe this self that is happening. So this process of observing is the very meditation that we are talking. Of course, you can do the formal practice, sitting and walking, and support this. But even your day-to-day life, you have to face it like a meditation. When you go to work, think that you are going to meditate. When you take your vehicle, think that this is a meditation. When somebody cuts you off, you can see suddenly how this self is working. Suddenly you want to chase after them. You want to get revenge. So observing this process is the most important thing. Again and again, see how this self is functioning. Again and again, see the stress, see the friction that it is creating. This very seeing, this very knowing is the way to dissolve this self. So in a way, when you meditate, you don't try to do much. Meditation is not about doing something. Instead, it's more about not doing. Maybe you have a different idea. When it comes to meditation, you think that I have to do something. But meditation is more about not doing. Even today, when we practice our sitting session, we didn't try to do much. Instead, we try to be the observer without contributing to this process. Without doing much, we try to be the observer. So when you walk, when you sit, don't think that you have to do a lot. Instead, it's about not doing. Just walk in your natural rhythm and try just to be. Just sit comfortably and just be for a while. Even your day-to-day life, just let them function naturally and see how it is happening. So if you think the meditation is doing, then you are strengthening that very self again and again. Even during meditation, you strengthen it. That's why meditators, they have a lot of trouble. Even worldly people, they live, they drink, they eat, they are having fun. But the practitioners, the meditators, they are having a lot of trouble. They are having headaches. They are having trouble with dealing with other people because they confuse meditation with doing something. But instead, it's more about not doing, refraining from doing, and just be the observer. Just see how things are evolving and just let them happen naturally. So that's the meditation. So in your day-to-day life, when somebody comes and blame you, try to let it happen and just calmly listening. If you don't know filthy words, then that is much easier. Because this person, she doesn't know filthy words. So somebody came and blaming, but smiling, she was listening. Okay, she was listening. And only a few days later, she got to know that that person blamed with filthy words. Now she is so angry and she wants to get revenge. But at that moment, she didn't get that idea. So think about it, how it is working. So can you just be the listener without identifying yourself as that person? Can you just listen to those words? Can you let it come and pass in the natural way? But instead, we want to react. We want to get revenge. So this is how you should be practicing. Try and see how things are evolving. Let them happen naturally and just be the observer. Once in a while, you get the chance to react. But most of the time, not so often, you have to react so much. You just be and see how the anger is rising. And within few hours, within few minutes, it will pass. See how the jealousy is rising, and within few minutes, it will pass. So that's how you should be developing your practice. So don't confuse yourself about, doing so many things. Try to accept life as it comes. Try to accept this unfolding as it comes and see what is there. If you are attentive, if you have that calm and peaceful mind, that is the best preparation that you can do. No matter how many lines you remember or recite, they won't help you in a troubled situation. Instead, if your practice is right, if you are peaceful in your mind, if you are attentive, then that will come and save you. That is the proper way of practice. So you have to think about these words. Try and see, can I just be when I do walking and sitting? Can I just be when I function in my day-to-day life? And can I support this dissolving of self? Even these words, you don't have to remember them. Instead, you just listen, you get the idea, then you let go. Otherwise, you are again supporting the very self. The self that wants to remember the practice. The self that wants to recite the practice. Instead, you just listen, you understand it, then you let go. And you are ready to face the next moment. You are ready for the unfolding. That is how you should face life. Accept that as it is unfolding. Accept what comes your way and try to somehow navigate through these situations. Even when you meditate, don't try to do much. Instead, just let it be and try to be the observer. Just sit for a while. Just walk for a while. Don't try to do anything. Let the things evolve naturally and see what is happening. When the anger comes, don't try to get rid of it. Instead, just let it evolve and see what is happening. When the jealousy comes, don't try to get rid of it. Let it happen and see. When the sickness comes, don't try to get rid of it. Instead, see how it is changing your body and mind. When somebody come and blame you, just listen quietly, attentively. See how your mind is reacting, how the self is generated due to these words. When something happens, when somebody cuts you off, see how the mind suddenly wants to chase after this person. This is dissolving self. And when you do that, you become one with the Buddha. A mind that is without the self is Buddha. It is not strange. Even maybe if you practice few days, even you see that there are periods that you haven't done anything. It was naturally continuing the walking, sitting, my day-to-day activity. And that is the very Buddha that we are talking about. That is already there. You just have to accept it. You just have to find that real nature. And when you find it, you become one with the Buddha, you become one with the God, you become one with the universe. You just have to let go of the doing and allow things to evolve naturally. So that's the idea for today. Try to continue this practice in the coming week. And if you have some experiences, we recommend that you share them with the group, and that will be useful for others as well. When they hear how somebody else faced that type of a situation, it is good information. It is helping your practice. So we invite all of you to practice. We invite all of you to see how this self is generated again and again, how it is functioning again and again, how these situations give life to this self. So coming week, you can be attentive and see. And if you have some experience, you are invited to share by next week. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Bhante, for that wonderful and insightful session today, starting off with the in-session mindfulness practice, and then long but very insightful, in-depth conducted Q&A session, and also then the talk, even though we were near the time limit. Thank you so much, and much merits to Bhante, and we wish that the good deeds, the merits from this will have a return favorable impact on Bhante's progress in mindfulness, and that Bhante will be able to continuously participate and sponsor this program in this manner into the future. And I also hope that all those who join will reap these massive benefits from learning on this track of mindfulness. So I would like to thank and pay homage to Venerable Bhante Homagamu Dhamma Kusala Thero for representing Nissarana Forest Monastery on yet another Saturday today, and allowing us to learn very insightful and valuable information which we can apply in day-to-day life to reduce our stress levels, to improve our quality of life, and also ultimately to improve mindfulness beyond measure. So thank you, Bhante. I would also like to mention with respect, Most Venerable Bhante, Udairegama Dhammajiva Mahathero, the Chief Abbot of the Forest Monastery, for allowing us to initiate and maintain this and sustain this program in this manner. And I would also like to thank all the organizers who started this program, who initiated and who are still working and dedicating their time and energy to sustain this program. And also I would like to mention and thank all the participants who are logging into this Zoom session and giving us the opportunity, the reason to conduct this session every week. So thank you and much merits to everyone. With that, if anyone has a quick question or any quick feedback, you can raise a Zoom hand and let us know, and I'll give you a minute to speak up because we are pressed for time. Okay, I think this no one raising the hand, and we are beyond the finish line too. So I will quickly share my screen for 3 quick standard announcements that we make. So you can see, yes, you can see the Nissarana Forest Monastery website. It is www.nissarana.lk. You can see the website and gain valuable information on events, archives, and other information on practicing mindfulness. And it is also generally very good to have some background knowledge of where all this learning is coming from. Secondly, I would introduce you to the Satipasala website. Satipasala is a specialist program. It's called the Satipasala Foundation, and it is developing a very innovative approach. It has developed a very innovative approach to pass on mindfulness training to students and adults of all ages. So that is what you can see, and they have started a FM service here. You can see that. So you can go on the website and learn of the current state of affairs on this website. I will stop sharing the screen. All right. The third announcement is same way that you might have been introduced to mindfulness. It is a very important thing if you can invite others who would be interested in joining this session to learn more on mindfulness. So with that, the session, this is the 31st session. This session comes to an end as of now. I would like to wish all of you a happy and mindful week ahead until we see you next week, same time on a Saturday. Thank you so much and hope to see you again. I will end the Zoom session now. Thank you.